Hi, my name is Kaylee Tolleson. I am 9 years old, and I'm an ovarian cancer survivor and proud to be one.
Back in October, Kaylee had some real low abdominal pains.
And when I came down, I was crying and hunched over. And when that was happening, I squeezed that spot right here on my lower abdomen, and I could actually feel something like hard, and it felt like someone was stabbing me with a knife.
I took her to the emergency room, and he left work to come meet me over there. By the time we got there, she's an ice skater, so she was kind of jumping around and playing and kind of back to herself. So of course they said it was probably constipation, and we went home, and she went to school that morning.
It happened every blue moon and only in the morning usually.
And then it was about January again. She came down with the same pain, in tears, hunched over, and we went in and she was diagnosed with constipation. Really didn't think anything of it until when she came down it was March 25th. She had been ice skating all weekend. We were getting ready for a couple competitions. She had just passed her U.S. figure skating test that Sunday. And that Monday she came down, same pain, and I said, well, we need to go back in and see what's going on. When he took her over to the pediatrician, and she felt around, and he called me, and he said, we need to take her to the emergency room. She wanted us to have an ultrasound done. They didn't see the ovary, and then it came back that there may be a mass. And finally, I think that evening, after about 11 hours, the specialist came down.
They said it was just a mass, but they weren't sure if it was cancer. And then after that, they found out it was a 10-centimeter germ cell tumor, and it was cancerous.
First of all, they had to go in and remove the tumor, and her right ovary was removed as well. We had to then go back in and meet with the oncologist and found out that she had some of her stomach lining that had some cancerous cells. And so then that's when they basically told us she would have to have chemotherapy treatments.
We were completely shocked. We don't hear much about ovarian cancer. I know we didn't know much about ovarian cancer. You hear about cervical cancer, breast cancer in women, and especially for somebody who's 9, our daughter having ovarian cancer, we were floored. She had 4 rounds to complete. Round 1 and 2 were okay mentally for Kaylee, but round 3, she mentally had a hard time. When everybody would go home, it'd be her and I getting ready for bath time, and Mommy, I quit. I don't want to do this anymore. Take me home. I'm done. Why do I have cancer? And I'm like, no, we're not going to quit. We're going to finish, and we're almost done. And after treatment, we were so excited the treatment was done. We were hoping we could ring the bell, and they said, well, we want to make sure the scans and the blood work are all clear. And then the next day we went in, they said that there was no evidence of disease and that we could schedule the bell ring. And I broke down and cried in the hallway. You know, Kaylee's jumping down the hallway, and no more cancer, no more cancer. And the nurses were, congratulations, congratulations. And then I think she said, Mommy, why are you crying? I was like, I was just, we were just so happy.
There was quite a few people there. I think it was probably one of the larger bell ringing ceremonies that they probably had.
A lot of people filled the whole room up, and some people had to be outside of the room. There were so many people. When I was running through the tunnel, it was cool for me to have to jump up there and ring the bell. I finally finished my chemo treatment, and I'm cancer-free, and I'm gonna be getting out of here, busting my way out.
September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month and Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, so it just means even more.
This has been an incredible story for all of us, and a journey.
John and I had no idea how to thank everybody. And then I had the idea, why don't we have a fun run?
I feel amazing, much more better, no pains.
It makes me want to cry again just because she's, no evidence of disease, and she's here with us. She's a survivor, she made it, and we're able to celebrate today and thank everybody. Kaylee and I, when we were home, those 2 weeks between treatments, every now and then we could go out when it was not crowded, and we would start talking to people. Obviously, she didn't have any hair, and people would ask, and we learned that nobody seemed to know a whole lot about ovarian cancer.
I've heard about breast cancer, and that's about it. Everyone wears pink.
When they heard that a 9-year-old had it, we wanted to start bringing awareness.
It's important because no one really knows about it. They could be having symptoms of it and they don't know what it is. And their doctor still hasn't found out yet. And I want them to know they can tell their doctor anything and listen to your body.
And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, to hopefully bring awareness to other people all around the country. Because, you know, this journey that we've been through, we certainly, neither one of us ever thought anything about our daughter, obviously, one, having cancer and then ovarian cancer. I knew very little about ovarian cancer, but when I heard my daughter, it was like, how can that be possible for a 9-year-old?
Yay! If I didn't have my parents, I probably wouldn't make it.
Some people say it's not a wonderful journey, but I look at it as a wonderful journey.